I'd be remiss if I didn't start this video by talking about Paddy Considine, the actor whose masterful performance has brought the character of King Viserys to life. You know a performance is incredible when George R. R. Martin calls the actor and tells him he did a better job at portraying the character than his own book did. Seeing Viserys' transformation from a jubilant but problematic king who never takes action at the outset of the season, to a withered, desperate man who finally makes powerful moves despite his condition in this episode could only have been pulled off by an actor as skilled as Considine. In this episode in particular, he managed to perfectly portray someone at the end of their life, plagued by immense illness and the pain that accompanies it. As someone who has unfortunately had to witness this state in multiple grandparents, I can attest to how spot on this conveyance was. I found myself crying throughout most of the episode from the sheer accuracy and tragedy of the performance. That acting, coupled with an absolutely masterful scoring from Ramin Djawadi, made this not only one of the best episodes of House of the Dragon yet, but one of the best episodes of a Game of Thrones series ever. But now to the actual narrative of the episode. In what is likely to be one of, if not the last major time skip we get in the series, this episode picks up 6 years after Alicent and Rhaenyra's violent confrontation. In what has become routine at this point, most of the kid actors have been recast yet again, most providing fairly generic but satisfactory performances. That is, aside from Aemon's new actor, Ewan Mitchell, who practically pulled the character right from the pages of the book. In the 6 years since the last episode, Rhaenyra has had 2 new children with Daemon, named Aegon and Viserys, after the founder of the Targaryen dynasty and her father, respectively. I can see this naming being a bit confusing for viewers, as both Alicent and Rhaenyra now have a son named Aegon. However, I'm glad they preserved the accuracy of that naming scheme from the book. Speaking of Alicent's Aegon, we found out that he has grown into an absolutely awful person. Despite now being married to his sister Helena, we find out he has raped a servant. Alicent, in an attempt to cover up her son's atrocious behavior, pays off the servant and provides her with Moon Tea, the same abortion medicine given to Rhaenyra at the end of episode 4. However, Alicent's efforts to cover up the incident were in vain, as we find out that another one of her servants was actually a spy for Mysaria and relays that information to her promptly. That incident, however, seemingly only serves as a subplot for now. As for the core narrative of the episode, we find out that not only has a second war for the Stepstones come to fruition, but Corlys has gone to fight in said war. He is set to return from battle to his home at Driftmark, seemingly gravely injured. With death potentially looming for Corlys, the next in line to inherit Driftmark would be Rhaenyra's second son, Lucerys. To clarify, it wouldn't go to her eldest Jacaerys, as he is already next in line to inherit the Iron Throne after Rhaenyra. However, given that Lucerys is a bastard born from Rhaenyra's affair with Harwin Strong, rather than her husband at the time Laenor, Corlys' brother Vaemond feels he has a stronger claim to inherit Driftmark. In turn, Rhaenyra and Vaemond both travel to King's Landing to press their respective claims on Driftmark to the Iron Throne. Corlys' wife Rhaenys travels to King's Landing as well, unsure of which claim she will end up backing. However, upon arrival to King's Landing, Rhaenyra and Daemon find that things have most definitely changed for the worse. Viserys' various injuries and illnesses have come to a climax, leaving him withered and rotting away both physically and mentally. He is bedridden and dulled by milk of the poppy, this world's equivalent of morphine. Since Viserys is unable to perform his kingly duties in this state, Queen Alicent and her father, Hand to the King Otto Hightower, have essentially taken over as the de facto rulers of the realm. They've even conducted remodelings of some of the areas of the Red Keep, removing Targaryen iconography and replacing with more generic Westerosi and Faith of the Seven imagery. After visiting her father in his bedroom, Rhaenyra realizes the shift in power and decides that desperate times call for desperate measures. She turns to her Aunt Rhaenys and pledges her 2 eldest sons in marriage to Rhaenys' granddaughters in exchange for support for her son's claim to Driftmark. Still resentful toward who she thinks murdered her son, Rhaenys doesn't give Rhaenyra a straight answer. This leads us to the actual hearing for the succession of Driftmark, presided over by Otto and Alicent as predicted. Vaemond is given full opportunity to speak, and his intent is clearly venomous and treasonous, bringing to attention the bastardry of Rhaenyra's eldest 2 children. However, before any decision can be made, King Viserys arrives and desperately makes his way toward the throne to hear the case. In one of the most emotional scenes of the episode, he is helped up to the throne by his brother Daemon. Despite all their differences and animosity over the years, Daemon genuinely loves his brother, and we see that in full force in this powerful sequence. Viserys obviously sides with Rhaenyra's claim for her son to inherit Driftmark, citing that he doesn't understand why it would even be a question. At this point, Rhaenys comes to a decision regarding Rhaenyra's proposal and promptly declares that she wholeheartedly agrees. Enraged, Vaemond spews his treasonous rhetoric regarding the bastardry of Rhaenyra's children directly in front of the king, an act that could be punishable by death. Before Viserys can even finish the order, however, Daemon takes matters into his own hands, slicing Vaemond in half. Seeing his death rapidly approaching, in a last-ditch effort to heal the cracks that have splintered through his family, Viserys arranges a private dinner just for those closest to him. At said dinner, he reveals the full extent of his illness to all and makes a powerful plea for his family to heal their divisions. Seeing the desperation of Viserys' words and the state of his health, everyone seems to agree and tensions begin to heal. In one of the most emotional scenes of the episode, Viserys scans the room, seeing all branches of his family laughing together and getting along for the first time in ages. However, the pain of his condition takes hold yet again, and he is forced to retire back to his bedroom. In his absence, tensions between the sons of Rhaenyra and Alicent begin to flurry, and physical violence breaks out. The chaos is only broken when Daemon directly confronts Aemond, prompting him to stop without words. However, from the look in Aemon's remaining eye, we clearly see this won't be the end of their conflict. In perhaps the most tragic comedy of errors yet, Viserys accidentally shatters the peace he fostered mere hours prior as Alicent visits him to check on him and say goodnight. In a withered mental state, he confuses Alicent for Rhaenyra. He then attempts to assure whom he thinks is Rhaenyra that Aegon the Conqueror took over Westeros and started the Targaryen dynasty to prepare for the White Walker invasion from the north, and that Rhaenyra is the ruler to continue this intention. Alicent, however, misinterprets Viserys' ramblings as a shifting of the Iron Throne heirship to their son Aegon. This shatters any hope at peace between the two sides of the family, as now both firmly believe that Viserys' intention was for their side to rule. After Alicent departs, Viserys faces his final moments, and we hear him utter the words, "my love," as he passes. My interpretation of this scene is that he sees Aemma Arryn, his first wife and the true love of his life, waiting for him in heaven. What a powerful final moment for the character, perfectly bookending his arc. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content of this nature, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You can also ring that notification bell to be updated whenever I upload a new video. If you'd like to check out my fiction writing as well as my vlog channel and social media pages, visit my website withkoji.com/AckerandHime. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next week for the penultimate episode of the season, Episode 9.